Hello and welcome back to the TNC podcast. It's been a little while since we've sat in these seats, but we're back for episode number 104. Yes, we are flying through the triple digits now. We've also got loads more podcasts on our iTunes page or Spotify or wherever you listen to it, with lots of former players that Chris has done. But today we're delighted to be able to welcome Steve from NCFC Numbers.
Thanks, Jack. It's
Hi,
an absolute
mate.
pleasure.
Yeah, good to finally meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you too.
I'm thinking of titling this like exclusive face reveal or something, because they always do quite well on YouTube. So let's go from the start then. NCFC Numbers Twitter page.
Yeah.
For me, I think I tweeted it the other week, one of my favourite Twitter pages, because it's always nice to go on Twitter and learn something. It's often just negativity or just people's, ill-informed opinions.
Yeah.
But then NCFC Numbers, it's facts and it's stuff that you don't often see, and it's lovely.
I'm too scared to offer an opinion in case I get shot down, so I just keep it completely fact-based. No, what you said is exactly kind of how I look at it, really. I quite like just being able to do the whole, here's a fact, and offering something a little bit different. When I started it up, I always kind of wanted to have that voice on social media, a little bit like, well, what you guys do have. But I think in order to do that, you need to be doing something a little bit different.
Massively,
and I kind of looked at what was out there for Norwich City. Plus I'm obviously a massive fan, been going for years and years, got a weird kind of analytical mind, and I thought, how can I put that to good use? I'll do an Opta style account.
That's really
and
good.
People seem to have really
and we often steal it for our podcast, which is good. Chris, how are you, mate?
Very good, thank you. I'm honoured to have NCFC Numbers on the show. I think Steve's nailed it. I think giving value online is actually so important. I think a lot of people just spout stuff, which is kind of cool. That's okay.
That's what we do.
But I think people are a bit bored of that now.
Yeah.
So big up to NCFC Numbers. I'm well. You're tanned.
Yeah, I've been in Australia. It's not the Yarmouth sun.
Yeah.
It's peeling gradually, but it's still there for now. So I'm glad I've been able to capture it on camera. Steve is also on a podcast. We all know Michael Bailey. Michael Bailey has a podcast with The Athletic called On The Ball. Links to that will be in the description. We've also got a partnership with The Athletic. So thank you, The Athletic. Discount links will be in the description below. You can sign up to The Athletic with a 50% off discount code, I think ours is, and that equates to about a cup of coffee a month in terms of pricing.
Jeez.
So it's dead cheap, and there's loads of good stuff on there. There was an article that Michael wrote in the week about Alexander Tete. Now, I didn't think we'd be mentioning Alex Tete's name too much this season due to age, and I just didn't think he'd be featuring in the team too much. Maybe it's a sign of other players not performing as well as they maybe should have done. But Alex Tete's contract is up at the end of this season. Should it be renewed, Steve?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he's done enough this season to suggest that even if he's not playing regularly next year, whatever division we might be in, that he, because we don't know yet, obviously, that he, even if he's not playing, he would be a good squad player. I think the character that he's got as well, and the fact that he knows the club, he's been here such a long time. Even if he's not in the team, it would be a real shame not to have him around the dressing room. I think so. I'd be getting him to sign.
If we stayed up, Chris, would you then? Does it depend on what division we're in next season whether Tete's contract gets renewed? What have you made of him this season? I guess.
Well, my curveball thoughts on this is: what if Tete doesn't want to stay at Norwich? What if he wants to go and live in Norway, happily ever after? Job done.
I suppose that would be the best.
Yeah. You finish on a high.
Is relegation finishing on a high?
Well, Premier League is finishing on a high, isn't it? I think it's very well documented that Tete himself has said that he struggles to cope with that hard games after games after games in the Championship, and so for me, he might not even want to. Of course, he'd be silly depending on the money, but actually, he's probably done quite well enough to finish up anyway. My thoughts on Tete this season, first and foremost, is that he's been absolutely outstanding. He's got to be probably in our top 5 performers for me, which surprised me because I didn't expect it. I really didn't. But I think without him, we would have been rolled over and mauled to death on numerous occasions. For me, I've always rated Tom Tribal higher. I think he's a better footballer in every single way. I'm happy for people to disagree in the comments below, or if you're listening, feel free to tweet me abuse. But I think Tom Tribal is a better passer of the ball. He's more energetic. I think he's more aggressive. He doesn't look like he can make him. I love Tom Tribal, and it's completely biased, of course. And I do really rate Tete. By the way, I want to make it super clear, I really respect the years that he's given Norwich. I remember the buzz I had when we signed him all of those years ago. We were dying for a player like Alex Tete, and he has been such a fantastic servant for the football club. But for me, cool, we could offer him a deal, but if we don't, I personally, hand on heart, don't think it's the end of the world, particularly with City coming in.
Well, what I'd say about that, I actually agree. I prefer Tribal as a footballer to Tete.
Well, if you agree, that must mean it's a fact.
I only deal with facts, people. But I think what we obviously started the season with Tribal, didn't really work out particularly well. I think he's good on the ball. I don't think he offers enough protection in front of the defence. And obviously, when you're playing against better attacks, as we clearly have been this season compared to last, we kind of need that. And Tete as a screen in front of the back four has always been brilliant at that. And if you think back to last time we were in the Premier League, when we got Malumbu in, and we thought, we won't be seeing much of Tete this year then. He's back. This last season, at the end of the season, obviously Tribal played most of the time. We thought that'll be the end of Tete then, he might get the odd game. Amadou comes in and you think, we won't see him. Yeah, no chance. Amadou's a Tete type player. Tete will be binned off. He keeps coming back, and every time he does, he puts in the level of performance where you think, how do we ever write this guy off? You know?
That's really interesting you mentioned that. Is that a sense of our recruitment in that department hasn't been good enough there?
Yeah, I would say it is. I mean, if you think Tete was a Houghton signing, and if you think if Houghton could sign anyone, if any position that he knew would be like a defensive one, I would say yes to that. I mean, obviously Tribal has been a fantastic signing. Let's not forget he was on a free, but he's a Farke player, right? Whereas I think in a perfect world, Farke wouldn't want to play Alex, but he's had to because of the fact that we haven't been able to get anyone in that's been of the same quality in that role.
I think what Alex has as well, and we've been dying for this season, is that right type of experience. I don't mean just an older player, I mean someone that's ingrained within the football club for years. I've spoke to, obviously we've spoken to Holty, spoken to Bradley Johnson, there's so many people that we've spoken to already within the last year, and they all say the same thing, that it's all right having the most talented team in the Premier League, but if you've not got the leadership, and I don't mean just leadership as in people that rock up to training and lift the heaviest weights, I mean literally pulling people, Jack, you're out of position, come in to play here, and I think we've got that with Tim Krul at the back, I do, but
Grant Hanley's been impressive at that as well.
For sure, but he's not played consistently enough, right? And I think that you need leaders throughout that spine to actually stay in the Premier League. I think it's a massive component part that we've missed, and that's why he's had to play Alex Tete.
And closer in on that,
for sure,
been a massive loss, hasn't he?
Swaying away from that slightly, we mentioned Tom Tribal there. I think him and Moritz Leitner were two players I really expected to make that step up. There were certain players I didn't think would step up and have done. What's happened to Moritz Leitner? And maybe you can put Tom Tribal in that bracket as well, if not quite making the mark that we maybe thought they would.
I think it's physical. I think that they get put under a lot more pressure. I think players, not just the kind of defence players, but also the attacking players who they're up against are a lot stronger and a lot quicker. And I think that when Tribal, but particularly Leitner, are on the ball, they look great. But I think teams were cutting through us. There was that Newcastle game where they played together at the start of the season, if you remember, where I thought Leitner looked absolutely fantastic. And he's brilliant for a stat, by the way. Like when he's on his game and he's popping passes off, he's just breaking all sorts of records
through passing.
Like through completion rate, because he's just finding teammates at will, and obviously because he's always on the ball, he's always knocking it off.
Okay.
I think that side of his game, obviously not in question, class act. When he gets his head up and he's playing, looking for people around him, you can see what a great player he is. But I think it's almost like the team in microcosm, in that he doesn't have maybe the physical attributes that you need in the Premier League, and that's why he's fallen further and further down the pecking order.
In terms of physicality though, Chris, I always use this kind of game as a reference point. Leeds away last season, when Tom Tribal for me put in one of the performances of not only last season but in recent times for Norwich City. He looked incredibly on the ball that day, and I thought, he has got the physicality, he has got the movement, he is that screen behind the defence. The amount of blocks and interceptions he made that game must have been through the roof. Is it down to physicality, or is it just not being able to maybe get that rhythm in the team week in, week out?
I think we've already brought it up. We've had Tom on a free, which is massive. Let's not forget that. And so the fact that we're even, putting Tom in this sentence is actually credit to him. The fact that he's in the Premier League is not patronising and being completely serious. In terms of physicality in the Championship, he absolutely nailed it. I can't remember a single game where he was pushed off the ball. I really can't. I think the Premier League is a big step up for any of these Norwich City players. Even if you think about Tim Krul, of course he's been there before, but he had that spell out. For him to come back in, there was lots of talking points about that. So, it's not just about Tom and Moritz. So I don't know. I'm not worried about Tom because we've got Tom on a free. We know he can deliver, and I believe that if the team are playing well, Tom's never the weaker link. He's not. But I do believe that Tom can be shown up in an average Norwich side. I definitely believe that. My question, perhaps to you, Steve, is what the hell has happened to Moritz Leitner? Because we obviously, there's rumours on and off the pitch of people falling out and all this stuff. But is it down to what he's bought, or is it the attitude? Because for me, I'm starting to believe some of the rumours.
Yeah, it's always difficult. And, I deal in fact. Just
I almost had you.
Yeah.
We do in fiction.
I think somebody did ask the question, actually, when you asked for questions today around, or they made the point that it ended a similar way from at Lazio and at Augsburg. And do we read anything into that? Maybe he is one of those characters. I have no idea.
Like Nelson Oliveira? Is this the sort of vibe you're getting here?
Well, let's not put him in the Nelson category. He hasn't torn off his shirt and run over to Farke on the side of the pitch yet.
Still think that was a great celebration.
But I think in terms of performances as well, you can't honestly say he would deserve to get in our team. By the way, if you're looking at those two roles in front of the back four, you wouldn't say in terms of the players we've seen playing there that he would deserve to get in. I suppose the thing is we bought two more centre midfielders. Well, debatable, but Rupp can play in that role. And as soon as we signed him, I did kind of think maybe that's the end for Leitner then.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in terms of why he's not in there, I don't know. You have to ask the manager.
You can't see Moritz dropping back down to the Championship, can you? Not because he's better than the Championship, by the way, because maybe that is his level now.
And I think there are a lot of respectable sources saying that Leitner was maybe going to go in January. For whatever reason, that didn't come to fruition. So we'll see. We'll get on to a few more bits later on. Let's talk about the transfer window then. It closed, was it a week ago?
Yeah,
bit more than a week ago.
Yeah.
It slammed shut, in the words of Jim White. What did we make of it? Duda, Rupp and McCallum coming in. A few not too noticeable people leaving. Good transfer window, bad transfer window. Any more hope for the season after it?
Which season? This one or next one?
Well, maybe that is part of your answer. I don't know.
I think not surprising. I didn't go into it thinking, we're gonna smash our transfer record. I would have liked to have seen a striker. I think just in the
Stephen Naismith sort of thing, yeah.
Or Nelson Oliveira. Why not? At another position where we haven't got a great track record. Maybe Timu. I just think with Dermich being, let's be honest, fairly injury prone and a lot of reliance on Pukki, I think we could have maybe done with someone just in case, maybe on loan. The additions they brought in though, Duda looks good. Very happy with him. I think Rupp looks like he could be a player as well.
What's Rupp's? I must admit I haven't seen much of these two players just because I haven't seen much of Norwich in recent weeks.
You've been tanning yourself.
I know, I've been taking a winter break.
Rupp.
Yeah.
Sorry? We have sponsored Rupp, I know.
You're gonna have to gen up on him.
You're gonna give me a debrief. What is he then? Talk to me about him.
I think the thing that excites me about Rupp is, and I speak a lot about energy.
I forgot we'd sponsored Rupp.
You're gonna have to.
I think just energy. Yeah. I think just literally just energy. And what excites me about him is he seems like a really good passer of the ball. He will slide into Daniel Farke's team with ease. I don't think it'll take him any time to get up to speed at all, and you could see that with Duda as well, by the way. I think Lucas Rupp is a champ. I think we've signed him to prepare for the Championship. I think we've signed him because we know that there's going to be players going out. And by the way, that's okay. It's not the end of the world to sign players just in case we drop down to level. That's fine. I
suppose the argument would be from maybe the more pessimistic fan is we're preparing for the Championship, but we maybe didn't prepare for the Premier League.
Well, yeah. If we'd signed Rupp and Duda in the summer, I think we'd be having a very different conversation, full stop. I genuinely think that much of a difference. Duda's delivery has been absolutely outstanding.
Tongue twister, isn't it?
Duda's delivery. It's true though. Duda's delivery.
Yeah.
Thoughts and feelings, facts. Give me some facts on Duda's delivery.
We had so many corners. There was a stat about corners, wasn't there?
Yeah, we had 12 corners against Newcastle, which is I think the most we'd have in something like 4 years. I could be wrong.
I think I read your stat, and we had 12 corners against Newcastle, and in the previous 4 games to Newcastle, we'd only had 11.
Oh, well, I'm glad you remember the stuff.
It was something like that.
I
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, it has been much better. I think.
But we still didn't score from one, by the way.
Yeah, and that, well, although Byram probably should have, right? I mean,
Byram's had a lot of good chances this season.
I've never known a defender to have so many presentable opportunities and just not take any of them.
Yeah.
He's got to score before the end, right? That has to happen.
Well, I hope so. I can remember that game in midweek against Southampton a few months ago. Every chance we had fell to him.
The one that right at the end, he just kind of sliced over the bar. It's going to be a case of if Byram scores are on the pitch, isn't it, one day? Because it just feels like it's got to happen. Back to the signings, I think Rupp looks like somebody that's going to be a really good versatile player for the Championship. Obviously, we don't know who we're going to lose yet, but it does seem like at the moment he's playing in Emi's position. But it does seem like he could play in the 10 role. He could play behind that. So I think he's somebody that we're going to see quite a lot of in different positions. That's my feeling. And Chris said it. He could slide into that team, and it would be like it's felt like he's been here for a couple of years already, just because he's that kind of player.
Well, that's positive. The one I'm most excited about, and he's not even at Norwich at the moment, is McCallum. Very highly rated at Coventry. I think Michael's actually gone to watch Coventry's game today to do some scouting. So go over to The Athletic to read more in-depth scouting on McCallum. But I've got a Coventry fan who sits next to me at work, and he's like really gutted that they've lost him. And I think we got him on a fairly decent price as well. I know it was undisclosed, but I think it was probably a little less than Coventry would have wanted. And we've got a decent track record with signing youngsters from Coventry, haven't we?
Yeah, last one wasn't bad, was he?
No, he was all right.
Yeah, I can't remember what happened to him. McCallum, I saw he was up for League One Player of the Month as well the other day, which for a left wing back must take some doing. So he must be pulling up a few trees. I don't know a huge amount about him. I know he plays at wing back. They have a back 3 at Coventry, and he plays left wing back. Obviously, we've loaned him back there, but he's the kind of player, and I think when you look at some of the recruitment we've had under Webber, you now look at the young players that they sign and think, well, they've obviously spotted a player there because we've got that track record. Yeah. What do you guys think that means for Jamal Lewis?
That was the question. I'm
sorry, I'll probably
no, you've taken my job, but it's fine.
That's what breaks my heart, big time.
Does it feel like that?
Yeah, but then I thought that about Byram and Aarons as well. I still think that about Byram and Aarons. I must have said that at least 55 times this season.
What, in terms of losing Aarons because of Byram?
Because I genuinely just believe still that we bought Byram because it's so obvious that Aarons is going to be snapped up because he is the most talented defender we've had at this club in so many years. So that worries me. And Jamal, what is hurting me about Jamal actually isn't the football side, it's the fact that he's such a good guy, he's such a professional, and all of the players love him, he delivers.
He hasn't really been in the squad that much though.
No, I think he's been hard. I think he's been hard done by to not be in the squad because for me, I know that you can't look at, for example, Byram playing in that position and thinking, oh well, he's missed a few chances, so he deserves to go out. But for me, I would have been a wee bit more cutthroat and I would have put Jam straight back in, to be honest with you. So I feel like he's been hard done by. So it does worry me that we bought. I think I'm excited about McCallum for sure, but I really don't want.
I think on the flip side, it would probably be harsh on Byram to drop him out of the squad. But I think on the whole, he's been very good. I don't know.
Apart from the goal scoring, that's
not
his job, right?
No, that's not his job. Right, let's move on to Newcastle. I know it was a little while ago, but I think it's important that we do take a look at it because we got a clean sheet, which was nice.
Wow.
We probably should have won, shouldn't we, Steve?
No, we definitely should have won, yeah. I mean, obviously, Newcastle had that really presentable chance which Almiron missed in the first half, but other than that, it mainly fell our way. The Pukki one was the really kind of clear-cut one that then fell to Duda on the rebound, which he put into the side netting. But in terms of the play, we had 19 shots. Which,
I forgot that happened, Steve.
I've forgotten that anything's happened. It seems like it's so long since we last had a game. But 19 shots is practically unheard of to not score with that many, and a few of them were good chances as well.
Well, I was going to say I'm not a massive fan of XG statistics, but we were over 2, I think.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, I haven't seen them, and I think you can get variations on XG as well. Sorry to get uber nerdy on you, but they're not always 100% reliable because it depends where you go. Anyway, sorry, that was my.
Who are you? What have you done with Jack Reed?
No, I was just going to say my real bugbear.
XG Reed.
You don't have to do this just because I'm
my real bugbear with a lot of the football content I make now is around like betting, so like trying to find better value than it should be basically, and loads of pundits in that kind of industry say Yeah, they might have lost, but they won on the shot count, and that just does my head in because they didn't win, did they?
No,
they didn't win.
And you look at actually flip side of that, Newcastle, and the fact that they are kind of winning games without having many shots. I don't know what their XG looks like, but I bet it's not good. But they're more than 10 points ahead of us. They just have ground results out, and arguably got a point they didn't really deserve to get last weekend as well. And I think that comes back to the point we were making earlier about having that Premier League experience and just the nous and the know-how.
I'm going to flip the conversation on its head with Newcastle, and I'm going to distract myself from the blatant opportunities that we should have scored, and I'm going to say Tim Krul, phenomenal.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, he was
absolutely brilliant, because if that was earlier on in the season, I felt like we could have been hit with a sucker punch, and I think that Tim Krul, of course, in front of his former club, was absolutely outstanding and deserves plaudits big time.
No, really good. We should have won, and I think the real annoyance for me is we've come up against a lot of sides this season, and I've looked at probably a lot of games we've lost and gone, they're not actually that good.
Know,
But it comes back to the point of like, if that was a one-off game or maybe a couple where you've gone, they weren't that good and they've beat us, it would be fine, but it's been consistent, which does pose problems for Norwich City because we're way over halfway through the season now, and yet we still can't find ways to beat these average Premier League sides, can we? And which you need to do to stay in the Premier League.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Palace, West Ham, Burnley, the list goes on. We've still we'll go through the fixtures, I'm sure. I still think we're going to have a rich vein of form at the end of the season because we've got to play Burnley at home, West Ham at home, Brighton at home. Who I
still don't know how you can be positive.
Well,
about
look,
this,
for me, there.
I just don't get it.
But there's 3 games there that we can win. And why not hope that we can, Jack?
All right, so my argument for Steve would be, is for us to stay up, we need to win 3 more games than everyone else we're chasing, right? We've won 3 games all season, Chris.
Yeah.
Like, if you're looking at like the way the season has gone so far, it's never going to happen that we're going to stay up. We're 1 to 20 on to go down. The bookies rarely get it wrong.
I'm more in the Jack camp. I'm sorry. We would have to win.
Facts don't care about feelings.
No, I've disregarded those straight off the bat. We'd have to win basically every game, every winnable game, and maybe get a couple of surprise results in there as well. I did a bit of homework before I came on and had a look at 25. Does anyone bother to do homework?
No.
Oh God, well I like to spend time with you guys.
No, I love that.
25 games into a 38 game season. We are on 18 points, and I just thought I'd have a look and see if anybody stayed up from that position before, and it's happened 3 times.
Okay.
One of them was Leicester, the year before they did the league win thing, the crazy thing. So I think that's the one. That's the one we need. Then there was Pompey, I can't remember what year, but it was the year that Redknapp came in. I think it was sort of 05,
and then bankrupt them.
So no, scratch that one. So they changed their manager and overspent, which we hadn't done either of those things.
Yeah.
And then the third one was West Brom, the year that they stayed up on something like 32 points. So I almost think disregard that one as well because the points tally was so low.
I was going to say, even with Leicester, was the gap between them and the people above them smaller than our current situation?
It was slightly smaller, not much, but they went on a crazy run and ended up on 41 points. So I think they were something like 17 at this stage and got 24 points from the last, 13 games. So they went on a run which was almost like Champions League form. So they actually did more than they needed to. I think we're going to need at least top half.
The thing is, boys, I like hanging around with you two. I think you should. I think you should hang around with people that challenge your views, and you get different things from them, right? But there's 2 ways people make decisions in life. Full stop. Emotional and logical. Okay. And let's put relegation into the ring. Okay. So logically, we're going to get relegated. Yeah. Given the previous records, which by the way are there to be broken.
Fair point.
Given the fact that we've only won 3 games all season,
I think that's right.
It's all very doom and gloomy, okay? And I'm okay with accepting that you believe in that. But for me, football, supporting Norwich, by the way, not Man U, Chelsea, Arsenal, one of these big clubs. The reason why we love Norwich is the hope. The reason why we love Norwich is because of these mad moments, of these things that, for example, by the way, it's probably not going to happen, but could you imagine if we actually beat Liverpool? And I don't believe it for a second, but could you imagine it? And I just think and I'm not saying you two do, but I know there are fans that are going to games now ready with their negative tweets, they're ready to moan, they're ready to give up, they've already given up, they're already saying Farker out, Delia's crap, blah, 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 blah. And I just think, what is the point? We go to football matches to be entertained, to forget our 9 to 5, to fall in love with the sport, to get emotional about it. So facts don't care about feelings for sure, but feelings, passion, emotion drive the sport that we love today.
That was nice. That was very good. I can't argue with any of that.
Yeah, that was a decent speech.
Yeah, very good.
So I love a bit of stat. I love stats. I always do my stats after the game. I think it's brilliant. I love NCF's numbers. By the way, follow NCF's numbers on Twitter, please, for God's sake. But remember why we love Norwich. Why do you fall in love with Norwich?
It's also worth noting for me, and I don't know what Steve. I've actually really enjoyed this season. I think there's been a nice. I really love the squad, which helps. I love what Webber's doing. I like what Farke's doing. Yes, we've fallen short, but I wouldn't have changed anything we'd done in the summer. I thought we'd nailed it in the summer. I don't think I would have probably signed anyone else. We did get unlucky with the injuries, especially in the centre backs. I don't like to play it on luck because I think it kind of evens out over the course of the season. Bournemouth have had similar problems. I just think it's gone a bit wrong, and like I wouldn't blame anyone. I've got no one to pin the blame on.
What is your opinion on? And maybe this is at UNCF's numbers, Steve, as we're going to call you from now on.
Thanks.
What is your opinion on, in terms of taking? Lots of people they want to blame someone. Okay, should someone take blame? Because there's a lot of people saying Stuart Webber and the recruitment team got the recruitment wrong. And what is your opinion on that? Because for me, I don't have the answer. But if you look at Amadou, for example, you look at these players and I think, have they got a point?
Well, what I would say, where were the people that were criticising the recruitment on, where were they on August the 31st or whenever it was that the transfer window slammed shut in the summer? I don't remember people saying,
agreed,
why haven't we spent 10 million?
Yep.
What we did, we made a decision. We're going to get the players who took us up. We're going to give them all contracts, and we're going to say, this is your chance. You can try and it's your job to keep us up. I was perfectly happy with that at the time, and I'm not going to turn around now and say why didn't we do more. So no, I don't think you need to blame someone. I think sometimes it's a combination of a little bit of bad luck, maybe a little bit of naivety, and I also think, and you guys have probably discussed this previously, people honestly want a massive Saudi Russian billionaire backer to take us over. I mean, the whole thing about Norwich City over the last couple of years has been the identity that we've had. We've always been a family club, and I like that about us. And I think, would you want to throw that out the window so that we could become another...
Grant Holt must have done.
Hat-trick.
He must have scored.
Didn't.
Did he not?
I don't think he did.
Anyway, this isn't a question for us, for the people at home. Chris mentioned there about chances created. Now, this might be skewed slightly because I've just seen Ebi Buendia at the top of all. Is that an argument we can rely on, that we haven't provided enough chances to Pukki, or are we up there with that kind of stuff?
No, I don't know if that is an argument. I think a few weeks ago, maybe. Weeks, months. I think around the time of that Watford game. I mean, my feeling with it has actually been it's almost gone. Emi's form has kind of gone like this, whereas Pukki's has gone a little bit like this, and we haven't had them both firing at the same time. I think around that time when we, with the Watford game, that run of games we just weren't scoring, it felt like we weren't even really creating. Pukki was still playing as well as he'd ever been, but we weren't doing anything for him. Now, over the last few weeks, with the Newcastle game, I guess being a bit of an example. Although Emi wasn't even playing in that, so maybe others have stepped up too, Todd as well. We are creating the chances, and maybe Pukki's form has not quite been at the level where the Pukki that we know the rest of the time would have taken those, but perhaps for whatever reason just hasn't quite been there. But yeah, in terms of chances created, I mean, you look at a Palace and Newcastle, we're way ahead of those teams, so we're not struggling in that department.
The real frustration for me has been the lack of points we've taken from Pukki's goals. Like out of the 11 goals he scored, so few of them have actually gone on to mean anything for the team, which is annoying. Right, let's have a look ahead then to to Liverpool coming up this weekend. But I just wanted to throw this out there, Chris. How many points do you expect us getting from the next 4 league games? So the run of fixtures goes like this: Liverpool at home.
I hate the next 4, by the way.
Wolverhampton Wanderers away, Leicester at home, and then we've got a cup game against Tottenham at the new White Hart Lane, and then it's Sheffield United away. So 4 league games.
3 points.
Really?
Where are they coming from?
We're going to beat Leicester at home.
Okay.
Leicester's, the wheels have fallen off Leicester's bus now.
Do you think?
By the way, Eddie, I think Leicester are a fantastic football club. This is the clause. Fantastic football club. Really enjoyed watching them. I think they've got a phenomenal setup there. Really like what Brendan's doing. Genuinely, I really like Leicester. But the wheels would have come off the bus by then, and Norwich had to take the opportunity. There's no way in hell we're beating Liverpool at home. Wolves away, I mean, that's looking really tough as well. Although Ryan Bennett now not being there, maybe there is a chance. And you know, Big John on the bench. You know, who have we got after that? We've got Tottenham. By the way, do you fancy a little cup? Any interest in the cup?
Matt. Yeah, you know better than anyone, Chris. I don't hate cup competitions, but in previous seasons I just haven't seen the point in them. And people have been really annoyed at me at times, being like, I'm really glad that we haven't put a full strength side out. Last season, especially when we travelled to Bournemouth and we put out like a second string side, I was so happy with that because I didn't want to derail our league form. This year, however, there's nothing to lose in the league. We might as well go on a cup run. Do
you think he will though, Jack? Do you think he will pick? I mean, like, you know, Dumic scored in the last round. Is he gonna drop him and play Pukki this time?
No. He's gonna start with Josip.
I think so too.
And he deserves to, and I hope he does.
And I think the same. I think he'd play Stiepermann as well. I would be surprised if he didn't. Well, I don't know. We'll see where we are then.
Interesting you mentioned Stiepermann. For me, that's been one of the big reasons why we haven't kicked on, because he was so important for our, just the way we played last season. Okay, Steve, how many points do you think we're getting?
Well, on the Athletic pod on Monday, I made a desperate attempt to try and justify the fact that we might get a point against Liverpool.
What's the reasoning behind that?
You're adding CFC numbers, and you're genuinely
The reason for it is I think we might play the same way we did against Man City, but we went into it thinking we have got no chances, so let's just shut up shop. Let's just sit back and let them come on to us. We got a little bit lucky in that game, but we, I think, deserve to win. I think we might approach it in the same way. And also I think this winter break thing, where there's been no games for 2 weeks, might just throw up something weird. There's no logic going into this.
I like that. It's the whole time I've heard that.
So, that's as optimistic as I'm going to be.
Okay.
So I'm going to say a point there, a point against Leicester, and a point at Wolves, and I think we'll lose against Sheffield United. So 3 as well.
3 as well. Jack, what are you going for?
I'm going for...
You
know what? I'm actually going for 3. I think I'm going to agree with you. I think we might beat Leicester as well.
Friday night under the lights, isn't it?
It is a Friday night game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, wasn't the last Friday night game Watford?
It was, yeah.
And how did that go?
Not well.
Not great. Let's have a quick, bit more of an in-depth look at Liverpool, and then we'll wrap things up. How do we approach it? Is there any way you can approach it to try and... Because we are up against here one of probably, if not the best side that's graced the Premier League.
The major weakness for me, I'm not... So let's go right back to the beginning of the season, that first game at Anfield, which, by the way, first half, deer in headlights, totally get that.
For the first 10 minutes in that game, we actually looked quite good.
Yeah,
It was that 30 minutes before half. Really
everything fell to Stiepermann, didn't it?
Yeah. By the way, but Grant Hanley gets desperately unlucky.
Yeah.
Anyway, second half, I thought we nullified the pressure of Salah, Mane, Firmino really well.
But they did stats. They could drop off, Chris.
Okay, I understand that, but I'm weirdly not so worried about that. But I'm so worried about the aerial presence from corners. So worried about it. I think that is where we're going to concede at the weekend. I think that's where Liverpool will know that we're weak as well. Look, Max and Jamal can keep up with that. They can keep up. They can definitely keep up. I'm not saying they will stay solid, but they can keep up. And most opposition players can't keep up with those front three. But the problem that we're going to have is certainly from set pieces, certainly, 100%.
I think that kind of Liverpool's concentration towards set pieces just shows how obsessed they are with the small things, because they've got a throw-in coach, don't they? No one's had that before. And they're so obsessed with just... They are sometimes the single goals that pull you through matches. And there's been so many games this season which Liverpool maybe haven't been at their best, but have just found the way to win. And I guess when you've got a Van Dijk and you've got a Matip and you've got, Milner whipping in corners, it is a real threat to us.
Set pieces is a great point, actually. And it's making me maybe revise my prediction. But I think in terms of the approach, it would be for me just to do that sit-back thing. I wonder, because of the pace of Mane, Salah, whether Godfrey comes in for Grant Hanley as I almost. It's suspended, isn't he? And he'll be back from suspension on next Saturday.
Yeah.
I kind of would almost want to see Grant Hanley play again because I think he really deserves to.
Yeah.
But I think he'll go with Ben and Zimbo at the back there.
Okay.
I really don't know how we approach it. It's going to be. It's interesting. You referred to the Leeds game earlier. That for me is still that's the blueprint for how to play against these kind of teams who you know are going to be a really difficult opposition and you know are going to come onto you. Is that kind of hitting them on the counter? So Emmy's got to come back, hasn't he, for this?
And the difference is they had Bamford. These have got Salah. Not Firmino.
That's true. That is a slight
Bamford actually scored against us.
Should we? Why don't we stick Mickey McGovern and Tim Krul in between the sticks? 2 keepers in, sit tight, 6-yard box.
Actually, why don't we just put Godfrey in and Hanley and Zimmerman and maybe chuck Tim in as well? Is he fit now?
He would never. But yeah.
Actually, I was looking at the numbers on this, and the last. So we've conceded 5 or more goals. The last 10 times that's happened, 4 of them have been Liverpool. Not that means anything for this game, right?
Yeah.
But you know, they have.
And all 4 of them had Suarez in.
I think they probably did. Yeah, they would have
so
done.
Glad
Oh no, sorry, 5-4.
Yeah, that wasn't
it.
Oh
5-4.
God, the 5-4 cap.
Sorry to bring that one up.
Of course.
But yeah, exactly. But no, you know what? Let's bring that up. The last time we played Liverpool at home,
a very different
classic.
Okay, but let's just put that in the room.
Yeah.
Norwich came up against Liverpool. It's 11 versus 11. Come on.
Well, actually, the point that Chris made earlier about being optimistic, like in a rational world, we wouldn't even bother going to the game next week.
What's the point?
Because Liverpool have dropped 2 points all season. But there is a slight chance, and I think when we're on our game, we can give teams a game. I'm sounding so desperate, but I genuinely do think if we play well, we have a chance. I honestly believe that.
I just want us to stick the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
If we do that, I'll be dead happy.
Okay.
No matter what the scoreline is.
We've really helped Liverpool out at times this season, haven't we? Like we beat Man City, which kind of gave them the first kick start.
I think so. Mate,
could we be the people that disrupt their invincible season?
I'm putting this in the room. I think Liverpool owe Norwich because I think, and I think the Liverpool fans will the ones that have got their heads screwed on should agree with me here. We are the reason that Liverpool have won this league because we derailed Man City. We derailed Man City. We put it in their heads that they are not good enough. Okay. Liverpool owe us one. Liverpool have won the Premier League. Give us these 3 points, lads.
If ever they were going to give us a 3 points, you might as well do it when you've got a 22 point lead.
They've got breathing space, haven't they?
Yeah, they can afford it.
Right. Any closing statements? Any facts you haven't spouted out that you want to?
I think you've pretty much extracted everything from my mind.
Well, that's my job done then.
Yeah, but no, thanks very much for having me.
No, brilliant. And if you do want to follow Steve and get all of these facts and figures and stats on a daily basis, nearly, head over to his Twitter feed at NCFC Numbers. We'll link it down in the description below, and also go over to the On the Ball podcast, and you can listen to his dulcet tones on a weekly basis. Chris, all good?
Yeah, public service announcement.
Okay.
We've got some phenomenal audio podcasts coming up, the bonus episodes.
Yeah.
I cannot begin to tell you how excited I am for the next audio podcast.
How many have we got?
It is,
in the bank?
We've got
3?
We've got 3 in the bank.
Okay.
And I'll try and give you some... oh, God, no, I can't give you clues. But what I will say is the next one is possibly the best ever story we've ever unfolded on the TNC podcast.
I haven't heard it either, so that'll be good.
That's absolutely massive. And then there's another one after that will really raise people's eyebrows, and they'll be like, "How the hell did you get him on?" And I'm really excited for that. It's there is a Norwich link, but it's very random.
Okay.
Very random.
I'm excited.
Is that story even better than the one I just told you about how I started my spreadsheet?
Not as good as that.
Surely not.
Yeah, and if you do want to listen to them, they're only available on the podcast platform, so Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, wherever you listen to them, and a 5-star review would be absolutely lovely. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.